Grounding is simply our ability to meet and greet the frequency of Mother Earth. Mother Earth, her job is to receive any and all discordant energy which no longer serves you in present time. When you release this energy out of your physical body, it enters into the various layers of the Earth's surface, and Mother Earth just simply absorbs this energy, takes it down into her core, and she does her magic. She composts that energy so that that energy can be recycled into a positive frequency for the future. Are you feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, or just plain exhausted, and yet you crave a deeper sense of connection with yourself and others? In today's Solocast, I am going to share practical tools you can use to calm your nervous system down and align yourself with who you're meant to be. By the end of the episode, you'll walk away with grounding practices rooted in both science and energy medicine. Tools you can start using today to feel more centered, more authentic, and more resilient. I'm Dr. Mary. I'm a chiropractor, medical intuitive, and energy medicine practitioner. My job is to harmonize both your spine and your energy centers, helping you to create more coherence within your body so that you can navigate life with more clarity and ease. Stay tuned until the end of the show because I've created something special for you. Additional guided meditations grounded in energy medicine that are available for free of charge on my website at www.drmarysanders.com. These meditations are just not for relaxation. They're designed to help you clear away outside influences, reconnect with your authentic self, and to restore balance in your mind, body, and spirit. So let's take a deep breath in and learn how we and why we need to ground. Mother Earth has her own energetic system, her own frequency, and that is known as Schumann's resonance. And this surrounds the entire Earth's surface, right? And scientists have had the ability to measure this frequency over the years and have deemed it a frequency of 7.83 hertz. It's slow, it's rhythmic, it's juicy, it's organic and nutrient dense. And quite honestly, the experience for us as we ground, it is very comforting, very nurturing, and very reassuring. The earth energy is the most sustainable energy that we as humans living on this physical planet have available to us. It's just that very few of us take the time to essentially and intentionally ground into her frequency on a daily basis. Now, grounding is also known as earthing. Okay, earthing is is defined as the instantaneous process of releasing electrically charged particles into the earth, and there's a conductivity process that happens as well. When we set the intention to ground, we're looking for anchor points and stabilization points from our physical body. And I have been taught, and I recommend that my clients also use these anchor points for visualization. There's 4 of them. The energy center is located on the soles of your feet, your pelvic bowl, your brain, and the auric field surrounding your physical body. Now, the reason behind these 4 anchor or stabilizing points is number 1, when you focus on your feet, the energy centers, the chakras located on the soles of the feet, you are opening up for a continuous exchange of receiving and discharging energy through the soles of your feet. And that opens up the meridians based upon traditional Chinese medicine that flow from the soles of your feet all the way up the legs and into the torso. Very beneficial. The second stabilizing point is the pelvic bowl. In the pelvic bowl, there reside the lower 2 chakras, and what we're looking to do is to connect with your ability for the innate instinct of survival, releasing any fear and leaning more into the idea of trusting that you will always be cared for and loved. So that comes from the pelvic bowl. The third stabilizing point is the brain. The brain, once you're grounded, has the ability to auto-regulate your central nervous system. We'll talk more about that in a moment. The fourth stabilizing point is the auric field, the electromagnetic field that surrounds your physical body. And there's various different layers and dimensions to the auric field. And when we set the intention to use this as a stabilizing point for anchoring, it establishes and strengthens our energetic boundaries. So those are the four stabilizing and anchoring points. I want to go back to what I just mentioned. When you're anchoring and stabilizing through the central nervous system or through the brain specifically, there's something that the body does that I think is simply miraculous, and that it stimulates and auto-regulates or balances your autonomic nervous system. Most of you know that the autonomic nervous system comprises of the parasympathetic, the rest the digest, the sympathetic, the fight or flight. Most of us operate in today's world in sympathetic dominance. But what we're finding is the physiological response of grounding and connecting with the frequency of Mother Earth. It causes the body to release a chemical known as acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is responsible for slowing down your heart rate. And that essentially induces more of an emotional tranquility, which is a beautiful thing. Now, all of us here will probably agree that energy follows thought. So you can and do direct your energy based upon the perceived ideas or the imagery that you create within your brain that can positively direct the energy where you want it to go. So when I'm holding space for others to ground down to meet the frequency of Mother Earth, I talk about the anchoring and the stabilizing points, and then I begin to use imagery. I use images that most people are familiar with so that they can, within their own mind's eye, begin to tap into what it feels like to connect with that image. There's 5 of them that I typically gravitate toward. There's many, many more that are basically based on the individual who I am supporting, but I do gravitate towards these 5. The first image that I use to enhance grounding is imagining and visualizing a tree. And so I like the idea that as humans, when we're on the surface of the earth, we can essentially see from the earth's surface above into the sky, maybe 1/3 of the dimension of the tree, and 2/3 of the dimension of the tree exist in the rooting system below the surface of the earth. And so you can begin to imagine the increasing of the depth of the grounding and the width of the grounding, which is incredibly stabilizing when it comes to grounding. The other second benefit by using trees as an imagery is that it creates that two-way communication from the earth. I talked about this. The energy goes up and down simultaneously, and again, it's a sustainable process as well. So trees is the first imagery that I use, followed by metal. And metal has a conductive property, so there are electromagnetic benefits for using various different metals in order to enhance your grounding. The third image that I use is light. Now, I will openly admit sometimes grounding is scary for people because they don't want to lean into the fact that they can trust that they will always be supported. And this can happen as a conditioned response to trauma or a subconscious conditioning program that happened early on within life. And so when we use light as an image, it allows the person to illuminate the pathway going down, and that creates more safety and security for that person. So light is very beneficial as well. Then I also like to use water. Water to me has a very fluid, emotional kind of movement, easy. It has its own force. You don't have to will the intention of movement behind the idea of water. So I use water a lot for grounding out negative emotions that no longer serve you. Then we have ropes. I like ropes, like marine ropes. You can even use the idea of braided metal. I mean, you can combine these elements too. I mean, it can be as creative as the person receiving the reading and the healing. I like the idea, the imagery of a marine rope because it's thick, it's dense, there's multiple fibers of the ropes. And so for each fiber, it enhances your ability to connect and to ground into Mother Earth. Now, I'd like to share a little bit about my own personal journey when it comes to grounding. And please understand, I have been doing this now for, oh goodness, let's say 25 years. My first exposure to grounding was when I attended Wake Point School of Energetic Healing when I lived in Colorado Springs. And the premise of this school was to learn the principles taught by Barbara Brennan. And if you're not familiar with her book, Hands of Light, or her principles behind healing, she identifies various different psychological arrestive development within various phases of life, and she has categorized them into various different definitions. And there's 5 different ones that she has a tendency of leaning into. And there was a day, and again, I'm kind of humbled and slightly embarrassed to share this story, but I'm going to share it because I think it's a beautiful learning opportunity for all of us, right? All of us that are here. Now, I want to gently remind you before I share this story, I was maybe early 30s, and at that time in my life, I was incredibly ego-driven. I was motivated by financial and material gains, and I was working hard, and I was essentially very proud of what I was accomplishing at that age. And the exercise that happened in class that day is that we had already gone through defining and looking for the various different characterologies within these structures. And we knew pretty well what the 5 different character structures were. And so the instructor said, okay, I want those of you that think that this one character structure is their least prominent to stand up. And we were talking about the schizoid character development. And I'm just going to briefly educate you about what the definition of the character, the schizoid character is. And in my mind, in the way that it is portrayed, is a very tall, lanky person, somebody who really carries their energy outside of the body, that they are very lofty, they have daydreams, that they lose and leak a lot of energy from their joints. They just don't seem to be physically embodied. They don't seem to be connected to their physical body. Now, I'm a sporty kind of person. I wouldn't say I'm athletic, although I do a variety of different activities, and I love living in my physical body. Meaning that if I can play tennis, I feel like I know where my feet are. Or if I can balance in yoga, I know proprioceptively where my body is in free space. And so I thought at that time, I'm early 30s, I thought that was the least of my character flaws, if you will. So I stood up all proud, thinking I don't define with this characterology at all. And at that time, my instructor and the TA, who was my personal healer at the time, they started laughing at me. And I stood there. I mean, I remember the sensation. I was mortified. I was like, why are they laughing at me? And so they then proceeded to educate me how I run my energy, receiving a lot of information from the upper chakras, and that I wasn't fully allowing the embodiment process to be completely grounded. So that was learning opportunity number one. Learning opportunity number two came, I guess I would have been probably about 45, and I was attending the Academy of Intuition Medicine, and Dr. Francesca McCartney talks about the anchor points and stabilization points, and we were in a panel. So that means that I was the person receiving the reading and the healing, and there was a group of my classmates, my colleagues, that were reading the energy systems, and the instructions were to assess the grounding. And basically, what I learned at that time, I had then had a better awareness as to how much information I received from above down. And so the instructions for me was to literally auto-calibrate my upper chakras. And what that meant was to dial it down and to dial it way down. So I really felt I came from the place at that time in my life that I knew that I had the gift of receiving information. So why would I want to auto-calibrate that energy center down? It felt so counterintuitive to me. And so then, I was struggling with calibrating it down. Then they gave me the advice of putting a hat on. Put a hat on my head so that, then there would be a filter system, at least from the crown of my head, from the information above. So that was pretty humbling, right? It was very humbling. So those were just two learning opportunities that I wanted to share with you. And I want to talk about now, what does it feel like? What does it feel like for me personally to be grounded? And for me personally, I feel safe. I feel connected. I feel cared for, loved, nurtured. And honestly, I feel embodied, meaning that my spirit is fully inhabiting in her home. I feel present. I am in present time. It's pretty slow. That's what it feels like to me. It's super, super yummy, delicious. Now, today when I'm not grounded, it is incredibly uncomfortable. Incredibly. It means that my spirit has then decided to leave my physical body, so I feel very disjointed. I feel very spacey. It's difficult for me to make a decision. I get really irritated super fast. I get judgmental, and it's just physically uncomfortable for me. So now in my healing journey, it is more obvious to me, because grounding is part of my daily practice, not only in my morning meditations, but throughout the day. I now know pretty dramatically as to when I am not grounded. Now, here's another little funny story. Just happened just this past week. I was helping a patient out of my office. I took her outside. There was another patient waiting for me. She decided to come into my office to wait. I came from the outside, came back inside, and I felt something on my ear, and I thought, my earlobe specifically. And I thought to myself, did I wear two pairs of earrings this morning? What's going on? I'm a little confused. And then I realized that it was a bug on my earlobe. And I don't know about you, but that kind of freaks me out. And so I grabbed my earlobe, flung the bug, and I left my body in 3 seconds or less. My patient who was waiting for me looked at me and started to laugh hysterically, because it was so clear to her that that's not my normal state. She saw me go up and out, and then she saw me come back and return into my physical body. So that's just another, silly little example as to what it looks like or feels like not to be grounded. And I know that those of you that are listening to this solo cast today, you come to this podcast having been on your healing journey for quite some time. And so I know, like me, you have gone through various different phases and opportunities for healing. And I know that you still get to experience increased grounding. All of us do. And so you'll agree with me that when I say that my grounding journey has shifted and deepened with each of the opportunities, the transformational journey, and the same is happening for you. So I invite you to have some self-compassion as you sit into the idea of deepening and strengthening your connection to Mother Earth. What I'd like to offer to you now is just a simple exercise. For those of you that are wanting to enhance your grounding, I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable seated position where your bare feet, are making contact with the floor upon which you sit. And then set the intention. Do your grounding anchor points. Open up the soles of your feet 100%. Then what I would invite you to do is to shift your awareness. Soften your awareness away from your analytical portion of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and just allow your awareness to sink down and back within the center of your cranium or within the brain. And then begin to have a simple point of focus, and that is your breath. I invite you to start counting your breaths as an opportunity to stay focused, and then begin to lengthen through the exhalation. So it could look like this. Your inhalation is into a count of 4, followed by an exhalation for a count of 8. And you will be doing what I talked about. You will be shifting your autonomic nervous system. Your heart rate will begin to slow down. Your awareness will begin to shift into present time, letting go of any anxiety of the future or any resistance from the past as well. Thank you so much for listening. If you have more questions about grounding, please do not hesitate to reach out to me personally.